Hello everyone, it's Darkseeker here again. Welcome back for another video. Now, over the last couple of months, I've had a lot of fun with Priest on the Wild Mode ladder. You know, I've played the Raza Death Knight version, but with different cards swapping in and out. I've played the Spawn of Shadows version, the Quest version with a focus on Enzoth the Corruptor. You know, I think I've played the Prophet Velen version. So, Priest is a very flexible class now, and there are different iterations of it that are doing very well on the ladder. And today we are looking at Big Priest by Sipiwi94's. So thank you to Sipiwi94's for this deck. Now, Big Priest is a deck that I struggle against on the ladder because, well, they always get Barnes on turn 4, and then they just get that big threatening minion out as a 1/1. Then they just kill it off and resurrect it multiple times and win the game. So for that reason, because I've struggled to beat Big Priest on the ladder, I've ended up disliking the deck without actually having played it, which is wrong. So today we are going to play Big Priest, and we're starting off against a Paladin. Now, you want to look for Barnes for turn 4. That's sort of the key. In most of the games that I've played with this deck, and I haven't played many, let's be clear about that, very rarely have I had Barnes for turn 4, or for any reasonable turn after that. Now, against aggro decks, you simply need to survive. And this deck has a number of different tools for survival. Oh look, there's Barnes! Yes, Blizzard knew I was recording this game for YouTube, and therefore thought, okay, let's give him Barnes for turn 4, so he stops complaining about it. But in that instance, I think clearing the board was a better option than playing Barnes.
Tonight, a tale of...
Who do we get? Oh, that's reasonable. Because hopefully now we'll just resurrect it. And it's game over. Because the Lich King has taunt. And he's ignoring Barnes. Okay. So sometimes if you're able to kill off the Barnes, Barnes ends up being a resurrection target, an unintended one. But in this instance, we get 2 Lich Kings back, and now this is where this deck absolutely shines, but you have to get yourself in a position where you can resurrect a big minion. And if you don't draw Barnes on turn 4 to do this, you're then often waiting till turn 6 to summon a 5/5 copy of a big minion from your deck. And sometimes against aggro, maybe that can be too late if you don't draw your board clears and your AoEs early. I don't know. So sometimes this deck can be quite difficult to navigate. And against control decks, you have to pace yourself, because if you go all in too early and resurrect too many of your big minions, you know, early, you play all of your resurrect effects too early, then they just clear your board with the likes of Light Bomb or Psychic Scream. So if you're going up against control classes, control decks, you do have to pace yourself. It's very, very important. You know, and we've been board clearing against aggro here, but look at his ability to just refill the board very, very quickly. Thankfully, he's now out of cards, he's running out of options, so his pace is going to slow down. I have greater healing potion if I need to heal my face anymore, but it looks like this game is now pretty much over. Oh look, another resurrect. Okay. Yeah. Oh look, there's Barnes. But 2 Lich Kings back on the board. There's nothing you can do. So that worked out very well for us. Resurrecting big threats with taunt stopped aggro in its tracks. Okay, let's look at a full game here. It's against a warrior. Now, it's hunting for Barnes. No Barnes. We have Shadow Visions though. So that's going to be helpful. Now, I haven't played this deck much, but as I say, very rarely have I drawn Barnes for turn 4, and unfortunately I've had situations where I've ended up with a hand full of big minions and no spells. So actually, you sort of get to sort of turn 8 and you play your first big threat, but by then it's too late. You're just dead. So I have experienced a lot of inconsistency with this deck. Now this guy is armouring up. He ain't playing pirates, so I'm taking the Spellstone. Oh, Bloodrazor. Okay, so this looks like a Dead Man's Hand style Fatigue warrior. That's my assumption. I'm assuming Justicar will be coming down. I assume he'll be armouring up forever. I assume he will have Brawls in his hand, Executes. There's the Belcher, so Enzoth is going to come into play. He'll look to play Dead Man's Hand on Enzoth. Okay, that's good. Yasharaj. I have played that 6-cost spell in the past, and I've ended up with Barnes on the board more than once. I just get the feeling that I'm very unlucky with this deck compared to most people. Interesting. Okay, Sylvanas is a problem for us here. So we may just have to Light Bomb because we can't risk giving him one of our big minions. And by killing off our own minions now with Light Bomb, they become resurrect targets, which is very good for us. Whereas if he was to steal one, he'd probably steal the Rag by killing Yashraj. We lose Ragnaros as a res target, and that's unfortunate. So, that's pretty good. 4 more spells to upgrade that Spellstone. This is working out pretty well for us. Right. I would argue here it's Brawl or bust for him. Does he have Brawl in hand? Oh, he's face tanking. Ouch. Okay, so 1 Execute down. Dead Man's Hand? Would it have been better to have Dead Man's Hand both of his Executes? They just wanted 1. That's interesting. Did he order that incorrectly? I think the ordering there, especially with the arm again at the end, I think that was incorrect. Anyway, double Rag. It's pretty good. And a Dead Man's Hand warrior with only sort of 3 cards in hand doesn't seem very threatening to me. I'm just keeping my eye on that Spellstone. And that isn't even one of our actual Spellstones, it's one that we discovered. So this is pretty cool. Right. Do you know what? It doesn't even matter here if the Doomsayer goes off, because it will have done 16 damage to his face, which is actually lethal. Right, it's over. Death by Ragnaros. Die, insect. Alright, 2 straight hits to the face. Lucky RNG there. And who do we get? Ah, okay, another Yashraj. What a board. Wow. Okay, so that was just sort of 2 interesting highlights. Probably my 2 best highlights from the January season of playing Big Priest. The rest of my games, they didn't go so well because I didn't get Barnes. I would end up with an early hand full of my big threats like my Yashraj, like my statues, like my Lich King with Rag. And just no early spells to play to clear board against aggro, and no ability to play my big threats early so I could resummon them. So, yeah, the deck itself, I think from an RNG and a luck standpoint, has been very hit or miss for me, which is why I then went back to playing Q-Block, because for me, Q-Block was more consistent for getting through the ladder. So, Sipiwi94's Big Priest. Certainly a fun deck if you can get your big minions rolling, and certainly a deck that does require a good element of skill to play, timing your AoEs correctly, timing your resurrect effects correctly. And certainly fun, from the standpoint of being able to play massive threats. It is a very expensive deck, though. You do have to have all of these legendaries. So if you've got the legendaries, try them out. If any of you guys play Big Priest on a regular basis, I'd be interested in hearing about what decks you're playing, what cards you are teching in or out, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys all again very soon for more Wild Mode fun.